This is CBC Here and Now.
I'm happy because finally it's my dream to be in Canada.
Newcomers to Newfoundland and Labrador. How more than a dozen Filipino fish plant workers have come to call Hickman's Harbour home.
I saw how empowering it was to see yourself in history and know that not only are we here today, but we have always been here.
A student from Memorial University is gaining recognition. It's for her research into the treatment of gay military members during the First World War.
With the 2025 Canada Games fast approaching, Parasport Newfoundland and Labrador is looking to grow its talent pool.
Whether it's the athletics, rowing, cross-country skiing, wheelchair basketball, we're there to try to support those organizations to help them get more people involved.
I'm Jeremy Eaton and I'll tell you all about it coming up.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Heather Gillis, filling in for Carolyn Stokes. Tonight, we begin in Harbour Grace. We have more details about the human remains found there yesterday. The RCMP say they received a report of an abandoned and burned out vehicle in a wooded area near Glover Road on Tuesday afternoon. Police found human remains inside that vehicle. The RCMP says its forensic identification section and the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner are now involved in the case. Police are asking the public to avoid the area while their investigation is going on. Anyone with a trailer or property in that area is also asked to check their surveillance footage and report any suspicious activity that may have been captured. And there's some big changes for newcomers to the province. 13 people from the Philippines arrived in St. John's last night. They'll be working at a fish plant near Clarenville, and today they started preparing for their new lives in Newfoundland and Labrador. As Here and Now's Daryl Roberts explains, the demand for immigrant workers here is growing.
I'm feeling nervous, but I'm happy because this is the opportunity for me to come here in Canada.
Emil Vincent Navarra is far away from his 3 kids in the Philippines, but they're the reason he came to Newfoundland to work in a crab processing plant.
To have a good opportunity for them, that's why I choose to live here in Canada.
More than a dozen Filipino newcomers arrived in St. John's late last night. They began their journey in Taiwan. In the coming days, they'll head to their new home of Hickman's Harbour.
It's a two-day journey, so a bit tired and a bit exhausted, but I think I'm good. I'm happy because finally it's my dream to be in Canada.
John Reynold at Scasinas will be working in the fish plant too. He says he hopes to one day return to his career as a nurse.
If they will have me, I mean, if I will undergo some seminars, trainings, or something like that, I would love to.
Others are sending money back home.
She is a nursing student right now in one of the university in Manila. So I need to work. Then I give more financial to my daughter.
These folks have a big week ahead. They'll be getting set up with bank accounts, phones, before heading off to Hickman's Harbour. But right now, they're enjoying some lunch.
They have to have Canadian bank accounts, Canadian money, Canadian cell phones, all of these things that were in that process. And of course, they're going through a transition because we have a 12-hour time zone difference. So all of these things, there's a bit of acclimatization.
The crab fishery is currently on pause. Harvesters have rejected a price they say is too low. But Wanda Cuff-Young says she isn't worried.
If there is any kind of a problem or if there is any kind of a hiccup in the fishery that this can't proceed, the federal government and the provincial governments have phenomenal programs. We have great relationships with them. We'll come up with a plan to take care of them.
Rob Greenwood studies demographics in Newfoundland and Labrador. Last year, the province did experience a population increase, the result of immigration, but Greenwood says it was mostly confined to St. John's. For more rural areas to grow, he says, things need to change.
For those people, they have apartments, they're cooking for themselves when they're not working, and so they need to be able to get the supplies they want. And so I think employers need to be talking to local grocery stores, service providers. Municipalities can play a really important role in this. And I know Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador has done a lot of work on welcoming communities.
These newcomers say they're excited, but they are nervous about one thing.
Maybe the weather, because here in Canada is very cold.
Daryl Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
And certainly today was no different. Temperatures much colder today than even the last couple of days with that sunshine, at least for the Avalon. Now, temperatures across the rest of the province are up. Well, most of the rest of the province are up. In fact, 4 degrees warmer than it was yesterday at this time in Deer Lake and 3 degrees warmer in Cartwright. So we do have the cloud covers in right now. It has been all day for at least St. John's anyway. We're looking at temperature around 0 degrees right now. Those winds a little breezy. Northerlies around 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. Those northerly winds are exactly why those temperatures are much cooler. You can see that area of low pressure offshore right now. Not a whole lot happening in behind it. In fact, a beautiful day for the West Coast with temperatures climbing into the double digits again this afternoon. But we do have some cloud cover up across Labrador that will head towards the West Coast as we head through the night tonight. But not a whole lot of wind to speak of at the moment. But as we head into Friday and certainly into Saturday, we're looking at those winds really ramping up along coastal areas of Labrador. 40 to 60, 60 to 80 kilometer per hour winds expected as we head through Saturday night through the day on Saturday as well. I'll get into the details coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. Now to the pumps, where the price of gas is up for the 3rd consecutive week in this province. And it's costing a lot more today. The Public Utilities Board increased the maximum price by 7.1 cents per litre overnight. That puts the maximum price at $1.81 per litre on the Avalon, and it's as high as $1.98 in the Lapoille region. And it's $2.07 on the south coast of Labrador. Meanwhile, furnace oil prices dropped by just under 7 cents per litre, 6.9 to be exact. Stove oil went up by just over a cent a litre on the island, but it went down almost 3 cents a litre in Lab West and Churchill Falls. Diesel down by 5 cents on the island, up 2 in parts of Labrador. And propane, that went up by almost a cent per litre. And police officers on the Avalon Peninsula got a first look at a new radio system today. It promises to make their lives a lot easier. The system will be eventually rolled out to first responders, all of them, bringing them under one radio system for the first time. Justice Minister John Hogan says the new system will cost $181 million over 12 years, including $21 million this year. Officials say it's an investment in public safety, eliminating dead spots in the province, connecting everyone on one system.
It's improving the safety of all citizens in Newfoundland and Labrador, and it's also improving officer safety. If we run into difficulties on the road, those incidents where something may turn out in an aggressive fashion or a combative fashion, we'll now be able to reach out to our telecommunications and get the help we need.
Meanwhile, Newfoundland and Labrador Health Services is advising that the emergency room on Bell Island will be closed for a couple of days. It's due to a staff shortage. The closure at the Walter Templeman Health Centre will begin tomorrow on Friday at 8 a.m. and it won't reopen until Tuesday at 8 a.m. Health Services says anyone experiencing a medical emergency should call 911 or go to the nearest emergency room. Other services will continue at the healthcare centre as regularly scheduled. A Munn student is garnering international recognition for her groundbreaking research. It's into the treatment of gay members of the military during the First World War. And for gay members of the Canadian military, Sarah Worthman's work is a reminder of a dark chapter in the country's history, but it's an also reminder of how far things have come. The CBC's Kyle Mooney has that story.
The World War I era, homosexuality was not widely tolerated, and homosexual acts were met with harsh consequences. That was the experience of dozens of members of the Canadian military during the First World War, and their stories may never have come to light if it weren't for the tireless efforts of one researcher.
Through this project, I saw how empowering it was to see yourself in history and know that not only are we here today, but we have always been here.
While researching Canada's queer history, Worthman delved into court-martial records from the First World War. She found dozens of cases where men were publicly persecuted for consensual sex.
After they wrote it down, they called the men back to their room and then called the entire base that was where the trial was taking place to witness the public reading of these verdicts.
Sex between men was considered an act of gross indecency. Those convicted faced a range of punishments. Some were sent to the front lines, and many were imprisoned.
Every single aspect of being imprisoned, the goal was to dehumanize the incarcerated individual.
For Steve Deschamps, Worthman's research was a reminder of a dark period in the Canadian military.
I was summarily purged from the Armed Forces of Canada for simply being gay.
A former Air Force officer, Deschamps is one of thousands of Canadians prosecuted during a period known as the Purge. Members of the Canadian military who were suspected to be gay were hunted by secret military police between the 1950s and 1990s.
When I was interrogated and polygraphed, the issue was not whether one of loyalty or otherwise, it was a question of pure, are you gay or not?
But Deschamps says the Canadian military has evolved immensely in its treatment of LGBT members. 10 years after being purged, Deschamps was invited to re-enroll in the Canadian Armed Forces and was given special recognition for his LGBT advocacy efforts.
And so now I serve again in uniform, wearing the Pride citation, a gay icon on my uniform for all to see in the Canadian Forces.
Sarah Worthman says she'd like to see the Prime Minister give an official apology for the treatment of homosexual men during the First World War. But her greatest hope, she says, is that people remember them. Kyle Mooney, CBC News, St. John's.
Turning now to sports, the Newfoundland Rogues are in the middle of a 3-game series against the Fayetteville Stingers from South Carolina. They're on the hunt for the playoffs, and the team delivered a decisive win last night in St. John's. There you go. In front of the hometown crowd, the Rogues bested the Stingers 154-123. With last night's win, the Rogues have improved their record to 11 wins and 14 losses on the season. The team currently sits in 4th place in the Southeast Division, and it's looking to stay there to make the postseason. All-star Armani Cheney led the team with 33 points. The two teams play again on Friday and Saturday night at the Mary Brown Center.
Started off a little slow, but my team is a family, so we understand how to get each other going. When somebody's down, we understand how to pick them up, and we just make shots. We do everything as a team, as a family, so, you know, it was bound to happen. I'm proud of the other team, but, you know, our team is definitely more of a family unit, so we get things done that way. It's do or die. You know, we cannot lose. We got to give it all because every game we need is going to count towards this playoff run. So going undefeated is the only goal we have. We don't see anything else but going undefeated.
Meanwhile, Parasport Newfoundland and Labrador is trying to grow its talent pool. The organization is holding an event at the end of April to try to get people to try out different sports. But in the meantime, the current para-athletes still have competitions and a big Canada Games coming up in 2025. Here and Now's Jeremy Eaton stopped by practice at the Fieldhouse today to learn more.
Go! Nice and low.
We've just got our regular practice here with Mark Miller through Pearl Gate and our para-athletic program that they support. And we've got our young man, Jeremy Jones, who's a wheelchair racer, amongst other things.
So this time, Jeremy, down. Ready? Go!
I'm doing practicing for national the upcoming at the end of July.
Jeremy's preparing to go away this summer to a national championship, so just kind of trying to lay the foundation for a big summer of training for that. It means the world. I mean, every athlete I work with, I enjoy, and every athlete is unique, and Jeremy's certainly unique, and getting to coach a wheelchair athlete has allowed me to kind of just see the different ways to overcome barriers for different athletes. So it's been a treat and definitely has helped me develop getting to coach Jeremy. Set, go! Good, good, stay down.
We're always looking to promote and grow the opportunities, getting young people who have disabilities or even older people. We've had, 50, 60-year-olds who've acquired a disability later in life, and we've gotten them out skiing and being more active. And so whether it's the athletics, the rowing, cross-country skiing, wheelchair basketball, could be inclusive squash, sailing, we're there to try to support those organizations to help them get more people involved.
We'll get 3 hard pushes, and I want you to try to get pass down. Okay? Stay low, keep the front tire down.
Not just the athletes, the participants, we're also looking for coaches and volunteers, equipment people who can help true up a tire for a racing wheelchair or for a cycle, because and cycling is another thing that's going to be inclusive for the Canada Games in 2025. So we're there to help support and create opportunities.
We're just trying to stay down. Even if you slow down a little bit, it's okay, as long as you're just trying to stay down. So you got one good fast one, that's all we cared about.
April 29th and 30th, it's an indoor meet hosted here at the Field House, and we will have trackside demos, equipment here, people try it out, and then Fanny Smith, who's a para-development coordinator with Athletics Canada, will be here as part of their commitment to supporting and growing para-athletics to do a classroom session.
465, good job. The team isn't selected yet, but we just came off of the last Canada Games in Niagara Falls, which was in 2022, and we had a really young team at that Games. So the athletics community is excited about the growth of those younger athletes going into 2025, and most of those athletes are really excited to get to represent the province on home soil.
Are you excited that you'll get to compete at the 2025 Canada Games here in St. John's?
Yeah, I'm very excited to represent my province and give it all I got.
They all know my name. They all have my house number and my cell number because I'll start getting calls in March.
After the break, we'll take you to the St. John's Waterfront where people are flipping out for seal flipper.
Well, the trend for the temperatures will be on the way down. Some areas will still see some nice temperatures tomorrow. We'll get into all of that in a few minutes.
She's been here a long time. She served a lot of people very graciously.
She'll take me and dance with me and twirl me around.
Dancing?
Oh, yeah.
Probably just her personality, the way she is, how she treats people.
After nearly 3 decades, Shirley is driving away from the drive-thru. Meet Rope Walk Lane's beloved barista a little later on Here and Now.
This is street photographer Richie Perez. He's been showing up all over Newfoundland and Labrador, meeting folks and taking their pictures, but also talking to them and connecting with their stories, with their communities. Wednesdays this month on Here and Now, you will meet Richie and some of these people. We're calling it The Signal Connects.
This weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. Early bird prize deadline is midnight Friday, May 5th. Order tickets now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
Welcome back to the show. It was a bit of a gray day today, Ashley. Kind of cold.
Yes, but not for other parts of the province, which is good news. That's what happens when we start to see this northeast flow. Those of you that are away from that flow, enjoy an absolutely beautiful day. So let's just take a look at where we sat across the province today as far as temperatures are concerned. 5 degrees in Cape Race, 1 in Bonavista, pretty much all along the northeast coast. Those temperatures were hovering around the 1 degree mark today. And then the further away from that you got, especially towards the west coast, even along the south coast of the island, 13 degrees in Burgeo. That was the hot spot. And then Labrador, you're looking at your temperatures above zero as well. For the southeast, 5 to 6 degrees was your afternoon high today, but we're staying with these cooler temperatures the further west and north you go across the big land. So as far as what's happening right now, we do have an area of low pressure offshore. That's what's keeping that cloud cover around for the northeast coast, but in behind that, relatively quiet weather. We do have some clouds moving in now, though, and we're looking at the chance of some more showers or even flurries as we head through the overnight, especially towards the west coast and parts of Labrador as well. But we do have much milder air to the west, and that is what's filtering in at least a little bit for the west and south coast of the island. But that is all going to change as we head through tomorrow. In fact, temperatures are going to be dropping quite a bit into the single digits. So still looking at a beautiful evening in Deer Lake right now, 11 degrees, 10 in St. Lawrence, and still looking at that temperature around 8 degrees in Corner Brook. So temperatures are going to dip as we head through the evening hours and overnight hours tonight as we start to see some of this cloud cover move in and a change in those winds. So the winds for the most part have been out of the northwest for a good chunk of the province, but as we head through the night tonight, we'll see that chance of flurries, likely wet snow for the northern peninsula for sure, and then along the west coast as we get past the midnight hour, and that's going to work its way across the province as we get into tomorrow morning, at least across the island anyway. Along the south coast, particularly the Burin Peninsula, the southern tip of the Burin Peninsula, as well as the Avalon, this may stay as rain as those temperatures will stay above zero for you. So that's pretty much where we'll see the warmest temperatures. Otherwise, the rest of the island looking at temperatures near zero or just below, and Labrador as well. That's the story for you. The coolest temperatures will be in Lab City at about -10 with that light snow in the forecast. So as we head into tomorrow, these flurries, or should I say wet snow and showers, will linger for the first half of the day anyway. That will move off. Still looking at that along the northeast coast, but we should actually see some clearing skies again along the south coast. Parts of the west coast and even central may see that as well. Now, as we head into the evening hours, things will dry out and we may see a few peaks of the sun before the sun sets for eastern areas of the island. Up across Labrador, you're going to continue to see the snow through the day. Could pick up a couple centimeters for sure, but I can't see it lasting very long as these temperatures have been fairly mild, but the winds are going to ramp up with this one, and that will really continue as we head into Saturday. Just taking a look here, you'll see them pick up tomorrow afternoon for the most part, between 40 and 60 kilometers per hour. Some areas will start to see 60 or 70 kilometers per hour. They'll be more widespread across southeastern Labrador and the island as we head into the overnight and Saturday morning, and we could even see some areas that are seeing those gusts in excess of 80 kilometers per hour by the time we get into Saturday morning. So really Saturday, Will be a fairly windy day across a good chunk of the province. Now they're going to start to pick up for eastern Newfoundland by tomorrow afternoon out of the northwest between 30 and 50 kilometers per hour. Note those temperatures 2-3 degrees through the day. Again, unsettled. Same thing as you head towards central Newfoundland, somewhere between 2 and 5. South coast, though, a little bit warmer. You are away from that onshore flow. And then between 3 and about 6 for the western portion of the island, northwesterlies, again 30 to 50, but this is when we're going to see those gusty winds for southeastern Labrador and the risk of some accumulating snow as well. Lab City, you're looking at your temperature above 0 tomorrow. You see a break with some of that sunshine in the forecast through the day. Now, temperatures are going to be up and down for parts of Labrador as we head into the long range forecast, but I'll get into all of those details in a little bit.
Thanks, Ashley. And it is that time of year again with a familiar sight in downtown St. John's. Taylor's truck is selling seal flippers on the waterfront. The Taylors have been selling flippers at this location for multiple generations. Years ago, it's where boats would land and offload their seal meat. This year's season opened on April 9th, and Heidi Taylor says word is getting around now that the flippers are in supply. She told Land and Sea host Jane 80 that yesterday alone, Taylor's sold a whopping 1,000 flippers.
I know all my customers pretty well as soon as I see them. Don't remember all their, their names, but they all got a story. They remember me. We get a few new faces. Even some years I'll think, I don't remember this gentleman being back. I wonder how he is, because I'm so familiar with the people. They all know my name. They all have my house number and my cell number, because I'll start getting calls in March.
What, people wondering when the first load will be in?
Yes, because they're afraid they're going to miss it, because some years, we've only gotten a week here. It depends on supply, and then they're afraid they're going to miss them. So now I keep a book of about 700 numbers that I start calling and start telling them that we're here. I want to let them know, not everybody is, getting the newspaper or, and the senior, they're not on social media, so they're not hearing about it the same. So I make about 700 calls.
Wow.
Yeah.
Land and Sea is currently working on a story about the seal hunt. You'll be able to see that when their new season starts again in the fall, and you can see that right here on CBC television. 3 of the 4 sisters have been sold.
The ghosts go along with it. I have shown this property more than any other property in my 30-year career.
So who finally bought 3 out of the historic 4 sisters? We'll have more on that. And the mysterious tunnel that runs beneath number 35. That's just ahead. 3 of the 4 Sisters historic properties in downtown St. John's have been sold. Debbie Hanlon is the real estate agent, and she's here to tell us a little bit more about it. So Debbie, what can you tell us about the sales of these properties?
It was a long process, I can tell you that. I've had this one, particularly number 31, for sale for over a year, almost 2 years. But we managed to secure a buyer. It's a female, and she's from out of province, and she's looking forward to restoring them.
And what's her vision for these properties?
It's hard to say right now. I do know that she's getting her numbers in order to restore them to their natural state, to their original state. So I'd say it's probably going to be a little hotel, maybe some kind of a secret little spot you can come and hang out with ghosts if you want. I mean, these are so famous. They're famous worldwide. So I'm not surprised that it took an international buyer to come in and buy one.
Sell us these properties. What do you get when you buy one of the 4 Sisters?
You get a piece of Newfoundland history. They've been here since before Signal Hill's been, the Cabot Tower's been built. So you get one of the most prestigious properties in St. John's, Newfoundland. You get a history along with it, and it already has goodwill because people know all about it. So if you're going to turn these into beautiful little apartments or a beautiful hotel, it already's got the marketing behind it. It's a fantastic project, and I'm so glad that someone came along with the right vision for it.
And we've seen inside them before. They're run down, they need work on the inside. What is it going to take to restore them?
Lots of money and a good vision too. But the person who's doing this, she seems to have both of that. She has her ducks in a row to get the financing together to restore them. And when you go inside, you do see, without a doubt, it's dilapidated, but the former owner had a lot of work done. So the structure is very, very sound. These walls are like almost 2 feet of solid stone. So these are solid structures, and they're already heritage protected. So someone coming in here will only help enhance downtown St. John's, and I think they're going to be beautiful when they're finished.
I know 31 was for sale for a little while, but it seems like the for sale sign was just put up on the other 2, and then they were sold like that. What can you tell us about the other 2?
It's a long process. This one was listed with me with the real estate industry on MLS. The other 2 are exclusive, so they're owned by the same owner. There were some complications because the former owner passed away, and then the business got involved, and the trustees got involved. So it was a long process, but they're all owned essentially by the same person, and now they're sold to one person. So you've seen there was always one sign. I didn't want to put up the other signs until I had sold on them, because for bad luck. And these old girls need a new owner, and I'm glad that it's a female at bottom.
Yeah. And what about the one in the middle that hasn't been sold? What can you tell us about that?
That's a privately owned by a private resident, so it's never been for sale, and they don't want to sell it. Not to my knowledge. One more thing I'll tell you about is that the ghosts go along with it. I've been in all of them, and I found a tunnel, and it's very exciting to see the tunnel. I actually went down inside it and did a little Halloween video down there. Since I've had this listed, I have shown this property more than any other property in my 30-year career.
How many times have you shown it?
I'd have to look and see, but over 50. Oh, at least 50, because so many people want to see the inside of it, and I didn't have the heart to say no to them, right? So, and getting to know the properties, I got very personal with them. So, you come down here and you get to know every creek and cranny in the houses, and they're all beautiful. But they all got little secrets to them as well. They look like they're all the same, but inside they all got little features that are very cool. Like there's only one of them that has a tunnel. And another one has this beautiful staircase where you can look down at everything, and they're just beautiful. And I think when they're done, they're going to be, another attraction for St. John's, Newfoundland.
Tell me more about that tunnel. Which house is it in, and where does it go?
The tunnel that I found is in the 3rd one up there, and I don't know where it goes. I didn't fall all the way down. But it's this huge, big, gaping tunnel that's like rocks, and you can see how well it goes down. I didn't go all the way down, but it's very cool. And we went down with cameras and stuff and had a sort of look on the outside. So it was my first time seeing it, so it was really cool.
Now, Hanlon can't say how much the buyer offered to pay for 3 of the 4 Sisters until the sale closes at the end of this month, but we do know that one of the buildings, number 31, which was built in 1893, was first listed for $300,000 and then was reduced to $240,000.
But Shirley Murphy's last day, she's been a fixture here at the Tim Hortons on Rope Walk Lane, and we're going to find out what her special secret is and why people seem to like her so much. That's coming up on Here and Now.
Welcome back. For nearly 30 years, Shirley Murphy has been a staple at Tim Hortons on Rope Walk Lane, just like your morning coffee. The St. John's franchise is a hub for many in the center of the city. And yesterday, it was all about Shirley because it was the barista's final day. She decided to hang up her apron. On the Go host Anthony Germain swung by Tim's for Shirley's last day. Have a look.
Very exciting day for me.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Come on.
Oh, look, more fans.
This is the man I've started here working for,
Really?
Mr. Woodford.
Oh, hi, Mr. Woodford.
Hi, how are you, Anthony?
Not too bad, not too
He's
bad.
a great guy.
Yeah, and you're a great gal because everybody was talking about the fact that Shirley's last day. Can you believe it's her last day?
No, I can't. Oh, yeah, she's here about 27 years.
Yeah, 28 years ago I started. Will be in July.
Right. What's made it so special to have her working at this Rope Walk Lane?
Well, her personality, and she got to know so many people. If you come in and order something, she knew what they wanted.
Everybody seems to know you.
Yeah. I've made a lot of good friends, met a lot of wonderful people.
Yeah.
It's very rewarding, very rewarding.
When you think back 27 years, that's 3 decades, all at the same place,
Sure.
right?
Yep.
So what kept you coming back?
The customers mostly. I love that interaction with the customers. It's wonderful. But yeah, they're a great bunch to work for too.
So what made you decide it was time to serve your last donut?
I think I realize I'm getting older and I really want to just enjoy life for me.
So what do you make of Shirley? It's her last day.
I think it's wonderful. She's been here a long time. She served a lot of people very graciously, and I think it's great. You enjoy every day. Congratulations. I hear you.
Thank you.
I assume you're a regular customer here.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about Shirley. It's her last day.
Oh, she's a sweetheart. She makes me my food every morning.
Why is she so popular here?
Probably just her personality, the way she is, how she treats people, all that good stuff.
Right, and you think it'd be easy to replace her?
Absolutely not.
She is one of the sweetest people that you can ever meet. Very friendly, very helpful. Her 2 boys actually went to school with my ex-husband.
Okay, so there's a connection there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They all grew up down the street here.
Okay, so it's like a neighborhood connection.
Yeah.
Karen, how long have you been working here?
I've been here for 16 years.
16, okay, so 12 fewer than Shirley. Shirley's leaving. What's the reaction here?
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate her on her retirement. She very well deserves to be, to have time to herself.
What are you going to miss the most about her? Because you probably know her better than most of the other colleagues.
Yeah, we like to joke and carry on. She'll take me and dance with me and twirl me around.
Dancing?
Oh, yeah.
So who leads when you dance?
She does. And then we'll sing songs, and sometimes the customers hear us, and then they'll join in singing. So everybody's in a good mood. You can't be, in a bad mood when you're working with her.
She's an amazing person. I believe she is the epitome of service, food service industry.
But what do you mean when you say that?
10 years ago, when I came from Philippines, was here for tour. The first day I had worked with Shirley, she's very amazing. She helped me out. She taught me everything I knew in service. Now I'm a manager. She helped me to build a rapport with the community and Newfoundlanders.
So that's much more than just serving donuts and coffee and all that.
Of course, it's not just serving. It's not just serving donuts and coffee. That's not all about. When you say quality service, you have to go beyond. And when you say beyond service, that is Shirley.
I want to wish you all the best in retirement.
Yes, and thank you so much. It's great to see you both.
What are you looking forward to actually doing when you finally leave this place today for the last? I'm assuming you're going to come back as a customer.
Oh, yes, for sure. I'm hooked on the caffeine too, right?
Right.
But I just want to live every day and enjoy the best I can.
Okay, well listen.
Enjoy my grandkids.
Of course.
Yeah.
There are new fears that the high-profile critic of the Kremlin, Alexei Navalny, has been poisoned again. His spokesperson says he's in failing health and not getting the medical attention he needs.
I am completely sure that it is Putin who decides what will happen with Alexei. So the thing is that Putin doesn't have any red lines that he wouldn't cross We know it for sure. We know that he already tried to kill Alexei. So nothing can stop him to try again, just maybe slowly.
Navalny is said to be suffering from severe stomach pain and rapid weight loss from what his supporters suspect may be a slow-acting poison. Members of his team believe it could have been administered in pills that he's been given. They say he's been forced to eat prison food instead of buying his own food or receiving parcels from family. The 46-year-old politician, who is in the opposition, is a longtime crusader against corruption in Russia. He nearly died in 2020 from exposure to a nerve agent, which he blamed on the Kremlin. He was treated in Germany but chose to return to Russia in 2021, where he was immediately arrested and jailed. To the United States now, where the FBI says it has arrested a suspect in the massive leak of classified American intelligence documents. This shows authorities taking the suspect into custody in Massachusetts. He's identified as 21-year-old Jack Teixeira, a member of the National Guard. Here's what Attorney General Merrick Garland had to say late this afternoon.
Today, the Justice Department arrested Jack Douglas Teixeira in connection with an investigation into alleged unauthorized removal, retention, and transmission of classified national defense information. Teixeira is an employee of the United States Air Force National Guard. FBI agents took Teixeira into custody earlier this afternoon without incident. He will have an initial appearance at the U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts.
Staying with news from the U.S., Donald Trump was facing more legal questions today, this time in a $250 million civil suit brought by New York's Attorney General. The case is separate from the one that made headlines last week. It alleges Trump misled banks and business associates about what his net worth was and the value of various assets. During an earlier deposition, before the suit was brought, he declined answering most questions under the Fifth Amendment. He indicated he'd answered all questioning this time. The trial begins in October. Back in this country, parts of central Canada are experiencing a springtime heat wave. Temperatures have been way above normal this week, giving residents an early taste of summer. Hard to believe since the forecast here is calling for snow later this week. Here's the CBC's Ethel Musa with more from sunny downtown Toronto.
It may be April, but it certainly feels like summer in the city. The temperature today in Toronto is expected to get up to 30 degrees. And just yesterday, a record was set. According to Environment Canada, it got up to 26.3 degrees in the city, making it the hottest April 12th on record since 2001. Torontonians in the city say they cannot believe their luck.
This is glorious. It's only April, so we love it when it's here. Seriously.
I think summer feels is upon us. It's beautiful weather to get outside. Long runs, pure enjoyment, you know?
Oh my God, I'm terrified it's gonna go away like tomorrow. It's supposed to snow on Tuesday. I'm just hoping it stays. That's all I got.
The temperature is expected to cool down later this week with some rain and snow in the forecast for next week. Just last month, a major snowstorm hit the Greater Toronto area with up to 30 centimeters of snow falling in parts of the city. But today, there is no evidence of that. Ethel Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
Researchers are learning more and more about the great white shark and how many there are off the coast of Nova Scotia. Well, one company wants to capitalize on that, invite tourists into the water with the sharks.
Welcome back. Nova Scotia is trying to hook tourists, if they're brave enough. The province is eyeing a shark tourism business, and it means you could come face to face with a great white, but will the idea float or will it tank? The CBC's Brett Ruskin has the details.
Researchers are learning more and more about the great white shark and how many there are off the coast of Nova Scotia. They've been tagging sharks, putting locator beacons on them, and it seems like dozens of sharks are pinging their location, migrating up the coast of North America to settle off Nova Scotia every summer and into the late fall as well. Well, one company wants to capitalize on that to invite tourists into the water with the sharks, into cages, wearing a snorkel and a wetsuit to experience and get up close and personal with these apex predators.
If you like sharks, there's nothing better than being able to experience them in the wild. I think some people might be doing it as, a bucket list kind of thrill thing. Other people might just be super passionate and interested by sharks.
And so $395 will get you the snorkel, wetsuit, a trip on the boat out about 5 kilometers offshore to either watch great white sharks if they show up on the day that you're out on the water from the boat, or to hop into a cage just in the water with the sharks. Now, not everyone is on board with tourists hopping overboard.
Having sharks associate food with human presence, you get the vibrations of the boat and the splashing around of people in the water, getting in and out of shark cages and stuff like that. I don't think it's a good thing, it's, as they say, don't feed the bears,
The company says that they won't chum the water. They will, however, be using pieces of fish, for example, the head of a tuna, to use as bait to attract the sharks. And they plan on launching this new experience for tourists as of August 1st. Brett Ruskin, CBC News, Halifax.
Check this out, a very rare event from southern Florida. More than 600 millimeters of rain has fallen in Fort Lauderdale in just 24 hours. Flash flooding means roads and cars were underwater. Some had to swim to safety. Fort Lauderdale's airport is closed until tomorrow, leaving thousands of passengers stranded. The tarmac is still partially flooded and covered in debris, and the city remains under a flood emergency.
And from flash flooding in Florida to a spring heat wave in Toronto that we saw a few minutes ago. Seeing some wild weather there, 0 here, nice and summery in Toronto.
I know, but 600 millimeters of rain in 24 hours. That is just incredible amounts of rain. But yes, there is some wild weather for sure. Let's take a look at what's happening right now out there. It is still 29 degrees in Toronto, 28 in Montreal. We do have some of that warmer air across parts of the Atlantic provinces as well. Fredericton, 19, 17 in Halifax. But unfortunately, where these temperatures are is pretty much as far east as it's going to get. As you see these temperatures, Lab City, St. John's, 0 degrees. Stark difference, that's for sure. And as we head through the next couple of days, these cooler temperatures are going to stick around for the most part. The reason for that, an area of low pressure offshore keeping us in onshore flow for those areas along Labrador coast, as well as the northeast coast as we head into Saturday morning. So we're still looking at some wet snow for those of you along the coast of Labrador. Same thing along the northeast coast through a good chunk of Saturday morning. But we should see some sun peeking out again for the western portion of the island, as well as the south coast away from that onshore flow on Saturday. So taking a look at the temperatures through the day on Saturday, they will stay generally in the mid-single digits, a little bit cooler along the northeast coast, between 3 and 5 degrees. Depending on how much sun we see, these temperatures may bump up a little bit, but the warmest temperatures will be along the south coast, Marystown. You're looking at about 8 degrees through the day on Saturday and some sunshine. So a beautiful start to the weekend for you. Labrador, temperatures between 0 and about +5 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. But again, it will be unsettled. Still looking at that chance of some flurries maybe a few peaks of sun towards the coast, but not till later in the day. So as we head into Saturday evening and Sunday, this area of low pressure is going to continue to pull off. So the winds that we're going to see on Saturday will eventually ease as we get into Sunday, actually looking like a pretty nice start to the day. Although again, depending on how far the low pulls away, we still may see some cloud cover along the northeast coast through the day on Sunday, but it does look like the weather will improve as the day goes on, as that area of low pressure takes that cloud cover with it. Now, as far as Labrador is concerned, you're still looking at some clouds through the day, and then some light snow will move in again for Lab West as we head into the evening hours. Temperatures starting to rebound. Still looking at between 5 to 9 degrees across the island, and between 1 and about 4 degrees for a good chunk of Labrador. However, should stay below 0 for Nain at about -2. But again, if you see some more sunshine, that temperature may bump up a degree or two. That is very typical of what happens across Labrador. Spring, notoriously hard to forecast up across the big land, because if you see a bit more sunshine, your temperatures will be warmer than the forecast. So long range forecast does have us warming up in St. John's and eastern Newfoundland as we get to Tuesday. Some sunshine and about 8 degrees. For central Newfoundland, you're looking at temperatures even warmer by the time we get into Tuesday. So talking about double digits, 12 degrees, 14 for western Newfoundland. And then across eastern Labrador, you're looking at 3 to 11 degrees by the time we get into Tuesday. So definitely some warm air. And for the west, similar temperatures. Now, this shot was sent to us by Nathaniel Rumbold. Yvette took this great shot. So lots of ice in the strait there. We've been talking about that. And if you have any weather photos that you'd like to share with us, send them to Facebook, Twitter, or email to nophotos@cbc.ca.
That's a beautiful picture, but the ice is making travel difficult for some people who want to get across the strait there.
Yeah, it certainly is, that's for sure.
And it doesn't look like our temperatures will be warm enough to, say, go diving with sharks like in Nova Scotia.
No, that's a hard no.
Would you go?
No, absolutely not.
I think that's something that I would definitely have to sleep on. I don't know about you. Anyway, that is our show for this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night and take care.
Good night.